So it is important for you to also know how to go from the U.S. system of measurement to the metric system of measurement and vice versa, from the metric system of measurement to the U.S. system of measurement, especially considering that we're only one of 3 countries that use this system of measurement. It's important to know how to communicate with the rest of the world. You're still going to use your formula sheet just like you did when you were doing the U.S. system of measurement. I would still suggest that unity fraction method. So in this case, I would put 49 centimeters here. I'd put centimeters at the bottom, inches at the top. Find this conversion on your conversion sheet. So it tells you that 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. So we would put 2.54 since that's the centimeters and 1 inch at the top. Notice one's at the top and one's at the bottom. So I would be dividing these two. If I divide them, I would get approximately 19.29. This one I'm going to put 5.6 meters here. Meters I'm going to put at the bottom. Yards I'm going to put at the top. Again, I want these units to be diagonal from each other. In your conversion, you have 1 meter is 1.09 yards. So these are both at the top, so I would end up multiplying, which you would get approximately 6.1 yards. This one I would put 36 pounds at the bottom, kilograms at the top. When you're looking at your conversion, it's got 2.205 pounds, is 1 kilogram. So I would end up dividing these two, and I would get 16.33 kilograms. And now I've got 54 inches. I'm going to put inches at the bottom, centimeters at the top. Again, I'm going to use that same conversion I did a while ago, but this time inches goes at the bottom, so I'm going to put 1 at the bottom and 2.54 centimeters at the top. Since both of these numbers are at the top here, I'm going to multiply, and I get 137.16. Converting temperature, so if you look on the second page of your formula sheet, there's 2 different formulas there. One tells you that Fahrenheit is equal to 9/5 times Celsius plus 32. And there's another formula that tells you that Celsius is equal to 5/9 times Fahrenheit minus 32. So we're going to be using these 2 formulas to convert temperature. So let's look at the first one. A lot of students get confused about which formula do I use. I always tell students to look at what is equal to. So if it's equal to Fahrenheit, I want to use the formula that starts off with F equals. So I would say F equals 9/5 times my Celsius temperature, which is 18, and then plus 32. Hopefully you feel comfortable now that we've done fractions, multiplying fractions and whole numbers, but keep in mind you're doing 9/5 times 18 over 1. So then you can just multiply straight across, which would give you 162 divided by 5. And you can just change that to a decimal. That gives you 32.4. And then we're going to add 32 onto that. And so if we do that, we get a total of 64.4. Now let's look at one going the opposite direction. So this time I want to use my formula that starts off with C equals. So we'll erase this one here. Now in this formula, you've got C is equal to 5/9 times your Fahrenheit. So let me get my pen back. So C equals 5/9 times your Fahrenheit temperature, which is 72 degrees, minus 32. So now we would have C equals 5/9. 72 minus 32 is going to give you 40. So again, you can do this as 5/9 times 40 over 1, which is going to give you 200 over 9, which if you divide those two, you would see 22.2 degrees Celsius. So a comfortable temperature in our house in America, it would be a comfortable temperature of 22.2 degrees Celsius in pretty much any other place in the world. So I want you to pause the video and try these on your own, and when you're ready, hit play to check your answer. So the first one's asking you to go from 89 kilometers to miles. So I'm going to draw my table here. Again, I'm going to make sure I put kilometers at the bottom, and I'm going to put miles at the top. So the conversion that we're using is 1.61 kilometers and is equal to 1 mile. So notice I got one at the top and one at the bottom, so I'm going to divide 89 divided by 1.61, and I get approximately 55.28 miles. This one's asking you to go from liters to gallons, so we're going to put 9.1 liters here. Again, I know liters is going to go at the bottom, gallons is going to go at the top. So my conversion is 3.785 liters is 1 gallon. So since it's top to bottom, I'm going to divide these two and I get 2.4, approximately 2.4 gallons. And then this last one, I'm asking you to go to Fahrenheit. So again, I look at what is equal to, and I'm going to use the formula that says F equals. So I know it's going to be F equals 9/5 times my Celsius temperature, which is 22, plus 32. So I've got 9/5 times 22. So keep in mind, if you're doing this by hand, that's 9/5 times 22 over 1. You multiply straight across. So you end up getting 39.6 and then plus the 32. And so your final temperature would be 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so let's look at some examples of some applications of converting different measurements. My suggestion for you is when you read a word problem that deals with different units is to try to figure out what units the answer needs to be in and then do those conversions first before you do any other steps. So let's look at an example. Eddie jumps 7.29 meters in the long jump. Kyle jumps 6.9 meters. It wants to know how many more centimeters did Eddie jump than Kyle. So again, notice it wants the answer in centimeters, but you've been given meters in the problem. So there's always going to be some kind of conversion you're going to have to do. In this case, we want to convert those meters to centimeters. So remember, when you're doing the metric system, here's meters, here's decimeters, here's centimeters. It's a matter of moving that decimal. So we're going to move the decimal in this case 2 places to the right. So we've got 7.29. We'll move it 2 places to the right. So that's 729. And then 6.9 again is 2 places to the right. We're going to go 2 places to the right, filling that hole with a 0. So now we've converted both of them to centimeters. Now we can actually solve the problem. So keep in mind it said how many more. So we've talked about that a lot in class. How many more indicates subtraction. So we're going to do 729 minus 690. And so he jumped 39 more centimeters than Kyle. This one says a fence company is measuring a rectangular area in order to install a fence around its perimeter. There's a key word there. If the length of the area is 140 yards, the width is 75 feet, what is the total distance to be fenced in feet? So we know, again, the first thing I would do as a student is say, okay, it wants the answer in feet. So which one of these is kind of like my problem child? This one's fine. It's already in feet. This one's in yards. So we know off the bat, this one's going to have to be changed to feet. So we'll do 140 yards. Put yards at the bottom, feet at the top. We know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And so since they're both at the top, we're going to multiply. So if we do 140 times 3, that gives me 420 feet. Now that I've done my conversions, now I need to actually answer the problem. So keep in mind what perimeter means. So here's my new 420 feet is my length. It's told me my width is 75 feet. Perimeter means to add up all 4 sides. So here's 420 and here's 75. So again, I'm going to add 420 plus 75 plus 420 plus 75. And you get a grand total of 990 feet of fencing. And then finally, this last one, it says Mr. Peterson's class is located in Texas. He's on a web conference with a classroom of students in France. The students in France say their temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. It is 94 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas. Where is the temperature higher and by how many degrees in Fahrenheit? So again, which one of these is going to be my problem? It's going to be this one because the answer wants it in Fahrenheit, but this one is in Celsius. So we need to do the one that says F equals because we want it to be equal to Fahrenheit. So we're going to do 9/5 times our Celsius temperature, which is 25, and then plus 32. So when you do that calculation, we get that the temperature in France is actually 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So now we can answer the question, where is the temperature higher? Well, we probably knew that it was probably going to be in Texas because that's probably going to be hotter than France. So Texas is 94 degrees, it's 77 in France. But then it says by how many degrees? So we want to know how many more. So we're going to do 94 minus 77. And so there's a difference of 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, as you're working through Ed Ready in Unit 6, if you have any questions at all, please make sure you email me and let me know.